everyone, this is Tina with Overall Adventures. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to talk about 22 journaling ideas for 2022. Some of them are old reliables, things you've heard before that I do think are worthy of trying again if you haven't tried them in a while. Others are brand new and others are kind of tweaks on things you might have already heard. I'm wishing you a year of more journaling because it helps in all areas of our lives, for sure. So let's do it. The first journaling idea I have for you is Edith Holden's Way of Nature Journaling, which I do have another video on explaining in more detail. So you should check that out. But essentially it's taking every single day and writing what you notice in your nature around you where you live specifically. So that's not just charting the weather, but that's also really noticing and observing and writing with an objective, descriptive state of mind about exactly what you're seeing in the world around you outside. I think it's I'm going to try it. I think it's a beautiful way of capturing your local area and capturing seasons. So I'm going to try it. I think it's going to be really cool. So I encourage you to try that as well. The second journaling idea I have is what I'm just going to call Song a Day. This is an old one that I used to do in high school, but basically at the end of your entry, I think it would be nice if you could pick a song that kind of embodies that day. It's not just like fun. I think that's a great way if you're kind of musical or if you run out of things to write, thinking about a song that you know that reminds you of that day. I think that's really cool to look back on as well. Number 3 is intuitive collage. If you've followed me for a while, you've heard me talk about this. But basically what that means is taking a blank notebook, so your January new notebook if you've started one, and collaging ahead of time in those blank pages. It makes the notebook already feel more full, but usually what happens is there's some kind of link to what you actually end up writing on that entry with the picture that you chose from a while back. So all that means is go get some magazines and tear them up with your glue stick and collage ahead of time in the journal and see the kind of magic that happens when you get to those images and see if they align with what's going on in your world. The next one is a reading journal. I love to read. I know a lot of you love to read. I keep track on Goodreads, but I do think there is a lot of benefit from writing down what you read, writing just a little review for yourself. That could be in a separate notebook or that could be in just like your daily journal. But I do think that is a beautiful practice that would be helpful to remember all the beautiful stories that you kind of consume. Number 5 is a weird one. I'm calling it like my view from my bedroom window, but as someone who likes to morning journal, I really I don't know, I think it would be interesting to document the view that you have every morning as part of your morning journaling practice, but noting how it changes. I'm really interested in more observational documentation kind of writing lately, so I think this could be kind of cool. That could be a sketch of your view or just noting every day the slight things or looking for something that has changed, right? Whether that's a tree branch or maybe some new leaves or some leaves that are gone, etc., etc. Off of that, number 6 is really just increasing descriptive writing ability. So taking something that is incredibly ordinary in your day-to-day life, like your mug of tea or a plant that you have in your house that you've had for some time, and spending the time to write about that and describe it in all of its simple beauty, I think will help to kind of slow down and develop more of a meditative practice. And this is connected with still life, so if you're interested in my kind of, I don't know, latest obsession with still lifes, I'll add another video that you could check out as well. Okay, number 7 is maps. I'm interested in maps, specifically how we can use maps as more of a metaphor to figure out where we want to go in life or where we're already headed. So this could look like drawing just like a map in your journal from scratch, like from nothing, or it could be like finding an old map at a thrift shop, ripping that up and like making a map for yourself, not just where you're going in your life, but it could be simply like, what am I feeling right now and how can I use a map to help me figure that out? Number 8 is documenting your neighborhood or documenting your area, your city where you live. So using your journal as a tool to capture the day-to-day life of what it's like as someone who lives in that piece of this world. So that could be talking about the news, the weather, really thinking about that as from your perspective, how can you capture where you live? I think that's so interesting. I don't know, the specials at the local diner. It could be anything like that, but capture what it's like to be a person like you who lives in a town or city like you do. Number 9 is dreams. So if you don't already write down your dreams, I think that's a great practice. I think it's really fascinating. But to expand on that, one thing that I want to try this year, and it's an idea that's just come to me, is writing before you fall asleep in your evening journaling practice, if you have one, about what you want to dream about, or pretending that you're writing a dream that you've already had in your sleep. So I'll leave that one to you to mine and figure out for yourself. 10 would be letters. I can't do a video like this without mentioning letters of some kind. Any kind of letter, right? Anything to anybody. It could be somebody that you know, somebody you don't even know, somebody you want to meet, some future person, some future child, some future, anything, anybody, anyone, any animal, anything. Write them a letter. It could be to yourself, to your past self, to your future self, to yourself in another life. I don't know. I think letters are really beautiful. You don't have to send them. You could just keep them in your notebook, and I just think it's nice to have a specific audience of someone that you have in mind while you're writing. 11 is documenting your learning of a topic of your choice. So I find myself like going through phases where I'm interested and like get really heady into a certain topic during the year, and it changes. Like it could be anything, at the moment I'm really into still life paintings. I'm also really interested in journals of other people, so I could have a notebook in which I really document all my findings of what that kind of passion or interest or curiosity is, all in one spot. Do the opposite of what you normally do. I think 2022 is a great time to change up whatever kind of journaling routine that you already have in place. So if you have like me, no stickers, no color in your journal whatsoever, it might be a good time to do the opposite of it. If you have, bright colors, lots of stuff going on, maybe try something a little bit more minimal. Just change it up. Number 13 is what I'm calling like the trees iceberg map, emotion map. I have another video on it where I talked about mapping my anger, but what it is like drawing a tree on your page or drawing an iceberg on your page and exploring like what are you showing to the world about how you're feeling versus like what's happening inside of you, and using the metaphor of a tree or like a really simple drawing in your journal to help you kind of pick apart that emotion. And that can work for anything. It doesn't have to just be anger. It could be any emotion that you might be feeling and you're wanting to, explore it in a little bit deeper level. Sometimes having a visual like an iceberg is really helpful to explore like, okay, what's on the surface here versus like what's really going on underneath. 14 is just this random one I thought of this morning. While you're writing, and asking yourself this prompt, if this moment was in a magical realism novel, what would happen right now? Or like, if this moment was in a novel right now, or an indie movie right now, or a horror movie, I don't know, what would happen right now? And just kind of expanding on that. I just thought that was a lot of fun. I'm just interested in like how we can bring more magic into our journal. So I'm interested in the magical realism one. Like if I was just right now in a magical realism book, what would happen? I don't know, maybe this plant would start talking to me. I don't know. 15 is recipe. I really like this. So think about something that's going on in your life. It could be something that you want, like finding your person or finding the best job or whatever it is, right? And now making a recipe for that. So it's almost like you're creating a little spell or crafting, the ingredients and gathering the ingredients and information you need to get that end result that you want. 16 is building your own journaling decks or your own prompt jar. So that could be getting an old jar, gathering prompts that you find along the way on the internet, or just like mining questions from yourself, or building your own kind of tarot deck, but with questions that you create. 17 is, again, kind of similar to the idea of the opposites, but trying a different time of day when you write. So if you're a morning journaling person, try writing in the evenings and see how that changes your writing for a bit. If you're an evening journaling person, try writing in the morning and seeing what happens when you do that. I just think that's so interesting we got to keep it fresh, we got to keep it fresh. I am historically a morning person for journaling, but I think it's important to see how maybe the time of day could impact what we write and what we're ready to show up to the page with in ourselves. Because sometimes, I don't know, at the end of the day, I could be a little bit more raw or feel I have a lot more maybe going on to process from the day that might be nice to kind of explore at night. So something to think about. 18 is if your plants or pets or any objects that you have around you could talk, what would they say? So this is more of a prompt, but I always want to know what my dogs would say to me if they could talk. I just think it would be so cool to have a dialogue with them, and why not write about it, right? And if you don't have pets, that's cool. Pick an object. If my teacup could talk to me, what would it say? Hey, you know, take it easy. Slow down with the amount of tea you're drinking every day. I don't know. Just could be a fun exercise. 19 is all about mimicking things that you already love. So what I suggest would be finding your favorite song, finding one of your favorite poems. I love odes, like a praise kind of poem about something or someone that you love. Find a piece of writing that you love, written by somebody else. Scrap their words, right? But try to rewrite it in a sense of what works for you. So, for example, you could follow like the structure of what they write, but with your own. Ooh, my bread is ready. I'm making bread. Okay, hold on. I'll be right back. Bread is out of the oven. I did not burn it. Yes. This is what happens when I multitask with cooking. Usually I mess up, but we're good. Okay, 20 is a heavy one, but an important prompt, continuously asking yourself the longer that you continue to journal, or even if you just start journaling, it works too. I'm afraid to write about ... Gets me every time. What are you actually afraid to put down on the paper? And that brings up vulnerability, which can be difficult, but is how we, in my opinion, how we get through to the good stuff. So what are you afraid to write about? 21 is really simple. This is a solid check-in that you could do anytime, morning, evening, afternoon, weekends, anytime. And that is checking in with your head. What's going on with my head? What are my thoughts? What's going on up there? Checking in with your heart. What's going on in there? Checking in with your body. How does my body feel? And then spirit. What's going on there? So those 4 kind of categories that can ground you, especially if you're unsure about what to write. And last but not least, the 22nd idea for 2022 is writing about creative fire. I talk quite a bit about creative fire, but I never really talk about what it means. And it's funny that none of you ever ask me what it means. I think it's just you intuitively know, or you're just kind of, you have your own definition, which I kind of love. So for 2022, I encourage you to write about what brings you creative fire. What is that spark, right? That kind of lights up your inspiration and your creativity and your excitement for writing and for life. Thank you so much for watching. I'm wishing you just a wonderful, wonderful new year ahead. And please let me a comment down below if there's anything you can think of another idea for 2022 in terms of journaling that you'd like to share into the mix for other people to try. We're all open and willing, I'm sure of that. So sending lots of love, Happy New Year, and talk to you soon. Peace.